Well, I mean, if you want to talk about bullies, we can talk about every time Caitlin has the ball, she pushes off.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying, like...
But she has the...
If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that player set it. If Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be. And I don't think it should be.
That was Sheryl Swoopes taking a hard swipe at Caitlin Clark when she was about to break the scoring record in the NCAA. On the surface, you would think that the WNBA legend was spitting facts the way she delivered her argument with strong conviction. However, it only takes 3 seconds and a quick Google search to conclude that this woman is a flat-out liar. I mean, you can clearly see here that Caitlin only played for 4 years at Iowa throughout her college year, no COVID year whatsoever, and she didn't use her eligibility to play in a 5th year, even though she could.
So this is her, she's a senior, but I think her COVID year was last year.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And as far as Caitlin's efficiency in breaking the record is concerned, this graph right here indicates that Caitlin actually broke the record in 13 fewer games than Kelsey Plum did, as Caitlin reached it in just 126 games as opposed to Plum, who had it in 139 games. Now, just when you think Swoopes was done hating on Caitlin, she would follow it up with an even more ridiculously stupid take.
Caitlin Clark right now probably takes about 40 shots a game.
What? Again, it only takes a quick search to dispute what Swoopes said. On average, Caitlin just took around 20 shots throughout her 4-year stint at Iowa. That's like 20 fewer shots than what Swoopes has said. I mean, seriously, what's her deal? So after discrediting Caitlin with the way she broke the all-time scoring record, Swoopes doubled down the hatred towards Caitlin by saying that she only broke the record because she's a ball hog who takes a crazy amount of shots per game. Anyway, besides saying that ridiculous stuff, here's Sheryl Swoopes blatantly lying once again, this time using Caitlin's age as an excuse.
Also talk about how much more experience that gives you over other players coming in, right? So people say, dang, like he or she's killing them, but you have a 25-year-old playing against a 20-year-old. Like, you should be killing them. Because you've been doing it a lot longer than they have.
See, claiming that Caitlin was way older than everybody else is just another way for Swoopes to downplay her dominance in college. And just like the previous lies that she's spreading, it could be disputed by a simple search online. And as you can see, Caitlin is just 22 years old right now, so I don't really know where she got the confidence to come up with those numbers. I mean, I've seen a ton of beef in basketball throughout the years, but I've never seen such animosity and jealousy that Sheryl Swoopes is showing right now towards Caitlin. Now, to really understand where Swoopes was coming from and why she carries this seething hatred for Caitlin, I searched far and wide on the internet to get to the bottom of this, and it led me to this 1-minute clip, which was recorded last year.
All right, so I set the record in 5 games, right?
Yeah.
Because back then, we had a first-round bye.
Oh,
so
okay.
we didn't get to play, I didn't get that 6th game. So I set the record in 5 games.
Took her extra game.
Well, I'm just saying.
You can say that.
No, listen. If I have 6 games,
The record's different.
well, I'm gonna have another 30. But I don't really care what the record is, who has the record.
To put context into this, Sheryl was once again taking pot shots at Caitlin because she broke her record by merely playing 1 extra game. I mean, 1 extra game. Even though she said that she didn't care about who broke the record and all that, Swoopes just made a big deal out of it because her ego was hurt. And I think from that day forward, Swoopes made it her life's mission to slander and destroy Caitlin Clark whenever she has the platform to do so. Anyway, after telling all those lies about Caitlin, Swoopes eventually pulled the brakes and somewhat apologized to Caitlin before putting the spotlight on her once again.
So I don't have any hard feelings towards Caitlin. My thing is when you put these expectations on these young women in college to go to the next level and be immediately dominant. And when that doesn't happen, then people come back and say, oh, she was a bust, she was a flop, she wasn't that good. Like, just let them do what they're doing and let them become stars in the WNBA. Like, it's not about me liking you, not liking you, me hating on you. Like, I don't even know how to let those words come out of my mouth, but so to like every single person on social media that like held it down for me, like I got mad love and respect for all of them for showing up and showing out and making sure that I was good.
I mean, she said that she was just looking out for Caitlin by managing people's expectations about her. But as you saw and heard from the previous clips, that's not true at all, because she's actually the one who's bad-mouthing Caitlin and saying bad stuff right before she enters the WNBA. And what's worse is that she has turned the tables in the end, claiming that she was the victim after all, as people were hating on her on social media, when in fact, she was the one who instigated all of this. So after receiving a lot of heat for dissing Caitlin, Swoopes eventually dialed down the rhetoric for a couple of weeks. However, it didn't last long, cause recently she's back on the saddle again, this time around, taking shots at Caitlin on her own podcast, saying that Katie Lou Samuelson is far more valuable than Caitlin, and number 2, the Fever will make the playoffs even without Caitlin cause all she does is pass the ball. Aside from this, she also picked Angel Reese to win the Rookie of the Year for the simple reason that Caitlin has a better and way more talented supporting cast than her. I mean, no disrespect to Katie Lou, but she's just averaging 5, 2, and 1 this season as opposed to Caitlin, who's not only leading her team in scoring, but also leading the league in terms of assists. So how is she more valuable than Caitlin? Now, as for her second point, Sheryl has to remember that the Fever didn't make the playoffs last year, as well as the year before that. In fact, the last time that Fever made it to the playoffs was way back in 2016. There's a reason why they have back-to-back #1 picks over the last 2 seasons. Simply put, the Fever were horrible before they drafted Caitlin. And now, they're officially in the hunt for a playoff spot sitting at 7th, 1 spot above Angel Reese's Chicago Sky. Now, you could point out a bunch of reasons why the Fever is doing better compared to the previous seasons, but obviously you can't deny the fact that the Caitlin Clark effect has a lot to do with the success they're experiencing so far. Anyway, after Sheryl's latest shots at Caitlin went viral, the people who have been following this one-sided beef, especially Caitlin's fans, had enough of this liar. And to get even with Swoopes, they've dug all her dirt in the past, and here's what resurfaced.
Loyola University basketball coach Sheryl Swoopes, she's under investigation accused of mistreating players.
The college coach is not only under fire, but under investigation after reports that the majority of her roster has decided to leave.
It was the environment she had created. I was belittled, humiliated, made to feel extremely small. Just because you are a great player doesn't make you a great coach.
So for someone who has a history of mistreating and abusing players, we probably know now why Sheryl is doing what she's doing to Caitlin. I mean, I would have appreciated her more if Swoopes had just come out and said right away that she doesn't like Caitlin nor is a big fan of hers. Like, at least she's being honest. But as we all know, that wasn't the case for Sheryl, as she had to sink to new lows and went to great lengths just to show that she despises Caitlin Clark on a personal level and downplay all of her remarkable achievements in women's basketball.